Aisha never believed in superstitions until the day she carelessly discarded her used pad in the forest. That night, strange things began to happen. Her reflection no longer moved with her. Her shadow flickered in ways it shouldn't, and then one terrifying morning, her shadow was gone. Desperate to reclaim what she lost, Aisha embarks on a dangerous journey into the place of lost things, a realm where forgotten objects and souls are trapped forever. But nothing there is given freely as she fights to retrieve her shadow. She encounters eerie whispers, fading spirits, and a hooded figure that knows her name. Time is running out. If she doesn't get her shadow back before the next full moon, she will fade completely, erased from existence. But even if she succeeds, the darkness may never let her go. Some things should never be thrown away, some debts are never truly paid. Will Aisha escape before it's too late? Or has she awakened something that was never meant to return? Watch till the end. This is one story you won't forget. It all began on a warm evening in the small village of Oduma. Aisha, a bright and lively girl of 16, walked home from the market with a basket full of fruits on her head. The smell of roasted corn filled the air as women sat by their huts, fanning the fire, while children ran around, laughing and playing. Aisha loved her village. It was a place where everyone knew each other, where the nights were filled with the sound of crickets and the soft songs of elders telling stories under the moonlight. But that night, something felt different. As she passed the marketplace, her eyes fell on an old woman sitting by the road. The woman's back was bent and her face was full of deep lines, as though time has carved a map on her skin. Her clothes were tattered and her eyes dark and hollow, staring straight at Aisha. Aisha felt a chill run down her spine. She had never seen this woman before. She quickened her steps, eager to get home. Just before she turned the corner, she carelessly threw something to the ground, a used sanitary pad wrapped in a piece of cloth. She had meant to dispose of it properly, but the sight of the old woman had unsettled her. She just wanted to get away. As soon as the pad landed on the ground, the old woman turned her head sharply. Aisha felt her skin crawl. The woman smiled, a slow, eerie smile that sent a wave of fear through her. That night, Aisha lay on her mat, staring at the ceiling of her small hut. The oil lamp flickered in the corner, casting long shadows on the walls. Sleep came quickly, but as soon as she closed her eyes, she found herself standing in a dark place. It was a forest, thick and endless, with trees stretching high into the sky. The air was damp and the ground felt cold under her bare feet. She turned in circles, confused. The silence was heavy, pressing against her ears. Then she heard it, a whisper, Aisha. Her heart pounded. The voice was soft, almost gentle, but it sent a shiver down her spine. Aisha, you should not have done that. She spun round, but no one was there. The trees loomed over her, their twisted branches like clawed hands reaching for her. Then she saw her, the old woman, standing a few feet away, her black eyes staring into Aisha's soul. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. The wind picked up, carrying a low, eerie hum through the trees. Aisha tried to move, but her feet were stuck. Panic set in. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Then the old woman lifted her hand and pointed at her, and Aisha woke up. Her body was covered in sweat. Her breathing was ragged. She sat up, pressing a hand to her chest. It was just a dream, or was it? She looked around the room, but the room was the same. The oil lamp still flickered. The door was shut. Everything was normal. But when she tried to lie back down and close her eyes, she couldn't. Something was wrong. She felt awake, too awake. It was as if sleep had been stolen from her. Hours passed, but no matter how much she tried, she could not sleep. And outside, under the pale moonlight, the old woman stood by the marketplace, smiling. Aisha sat on her mat, hugging her knee to her chest, the night stretched endlessly before her. She never struggled to sleep before. No matter how hard she shut her eyes, no matter how many times she turned on her side, sleep would not come. She lit a small candle and watched the flame flicker, trying to calm her racing heart. Outside the village was quiet, but she felt like someone was watching her. Her grandmother, Mama Rabi, slept on the other side of the hut. Her soft snores filled the room. Aisha wanted to wake her up to tell her about the strange dream, but something stopped her. Then she heard it, a whisper. Aisha! She froze. It was the same voice from her dream. Her skin prickled with fear. She turned her head slowly towards the door. It was slightly open. The wooden frame creaked as if someone had just touched it. She swallowed hard, reached for her candle. The flame trembled as she stood up, her legs shaking beneath her. Step by step, she moved towards the door. Her hands trembled as she pushed it open wider. The night was still. The village was wrapped in darkness. The trees swayed gently in the wind, but there was no one there. And then she saw it. At the far end of the village, near the marketplace, a shadow moved. It was the figure of a woman, tall and thin, standing beneath a tree. The old woman. Aisha's breath caught in her throat. The woman raised her hand and pointed straight at her. Aisha stumbled back, slammed the door shut. She turned to run to her grandmother, only to find Mama Rabi sitting up, staring at her. Her eyes were wide, filled with something strange. Aisha, she whispered, what have you done? Aisha's throat went dry. What do you mean, Mama? Mama Rabi's gaze dropped to the floor. Tell me the truth, she said softly. Did you throw something away today? Something that should not have been thrown carelessly? Aisha felt her stomach drop. The sanitary pad. Her grandmother's voice trembled. Tell me, child, did you throw it? Aisha swallowed hard. At the marketplace, she whispered. Mama Rabi closed her eyes and shook her head. Oh, Aisha. Tears burned in Aisha's eyes. Mama, what happened to me? What's happening to me? Why can't I sleep? Her grandmother stood up and reached for a wooden staff in the corner of the room. Because, my child, she said, you have offended someone who never forgets and never forgives. Aisha's heart pounded. Who? She whispered. Mama Rabi's voice, barely a breath. The woman who never sleeps. The words sent a chill through Aisha's bones.